Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So we are just going to continue from the last video. We just completed setting up our architecture for all the projects inside a solution. Now what we are concerned of in this stage is the data access layer. We are going to set up the data access layer, which is responsible for all the connectivities from the database, which maps the entities and gets the result from the database. Now before proceeding, you need to make sure that this project, the application.dal, must have all the packages that is required for setting up the data access layer. The major 4 packages are these. You can install this using the NuGet package manager, or you can just double click on the dependencies for Mac, and in Windows you can just right click on the project and you can just manage NuGet packages. So you need to have these 4 packages installed for proceeding further. The first package is Microsoft.EntityFrameworkCore, which is responsible for Object Database Mapper. This is the main package which maps our code with the database server using the entity framework. The next is the design package, which is responsible for setting up the folders and the directories and the files that are going to be generated using the entity framework. Next, we have the entity framework tools. In this, we have multiple commands which is going to be integrated when the package is installed. With this package, you can see that this enables these commonly used commands: add migration, bundle migration, etc. And lastly, we have the MySql.EntityFrameworkCore, because we are going to connect our database MySQL with the code using the entity framework. Now proceeding further, we will be needing to access the NuGet package manager console. And we are going to write some commands in here which will auto-generate the files which is responsible for database access. Now this command is a scaffolding technique which is for the database first approach, that you have all the tables set up already in the database side and you are going to map each and every table at code level. So you can see in the command there's Scaffold-DbContext, and then we have the connection string. In my case, the connection string is 127.0.0.1, which is the home IP address. Next we have the database name, which is MachineTest. Next the username, and lastly the password. Now we are using the MySql.EntityFrameworkCore to build the output of this particular command in a directory named entities. Now let's execute it. Now you can see that this was executed successfully, but cannot load the assembly DAL. This is because the command being executed is not connected with the application, which is the startup project. So we are just going to add a reference to the main project, which is the application in our case, and we are just going to add a project reference for the DAL. Now we have our application integrated with the DAL. Now we can use everything in the DAL inside the application. Now let's execute the command again. Also, you need to make sure that the selected project in here is DAL because we are going to set up the DAL project for the data access layer. Now you can see that inside the DAL project, we have a new folder named Entities. The folder name is Entities because we provided the output directory to be the name with the entities. Now when we open the entities, we have the course.cs. Now why do we have the course.cs file? This is basically a code that is generated from a particular table. Being specific, if you see in my SQL, I have one table defined, which is just for our example. Now in this table, we have two columns, that is one ID and the name. So that is why we have two properties in this class, which is ID and the name of course. Next we have the MachineTest context. Now this MachineTest context is an approach for making a DB context in a shortest way. And in there you can see that you will have the virtual methods defined for each table. Also you will see that you will have a connection string set up in here, which is potentially harmful because we are going to keep all the connection related configurations inside a JSON file in the application project. Also you can see that we have a method on model creating in this. When we scaffolded a command, when we used the command of scaffolding, it constructed this file that is the MachineTest context, and it has one more method which is on model creating. Now this method is executed by the framework at the initial phase. When we use the command using the connection string, this override method uses its code inside it to make the class. Now in the next video, we are going to use this DB context inside the BAL, which is the business access layer, using services and interfaces.